Hi, welcome to my channel. I've been wanting to do this for a while, and what better time than the new year? Before I do start, I wanted to apologize for the camera quality or any audio issues that I have. It's the first video, and I promise it'll be better in future installments. So, with that out of the way, let's begin. So, like the title suggests, this is going to be a video on how I completed Inktober and what I learned, roadblocks that I had, and methods and strategies that I implemented throughout the month. I did complete 31 drawings, so pretty proud of that. I will say I am not a master artist, so don't expect each drawing to be a masterpiece that you're about to see. No, nothing like that. I will say I did improve greatly in the throughout the challenge, so I think that holds some value, and I'm going to go into that. But with that, let's get started. Okay, so the first thing I did was create my own prompt. Yes, the actual Inktober prompt list and most of the ones that came before were just, how do I say, just unengaging for me. Like, they were a big reason for why I wasn't able to finish Inktober multiple years. And I'm pretty sure that's true for a lot of people. So one of the first things I did was create my own prompt. See, I call it Occultober. Don't judge me. But I built my own prompt list, and this is a big one. I went about it with the intention of creating prompts that would help me brainstorm future projects. Essentially, I want to create my own comic/manga one day, and I wanted to use Inktober to brainstorm some of the ideas. And that's one of the main things that helped me stay consistent with the challenge overall, because I was constantly thinking about my future ideas and just the project, and it kept me motivated essentially. Um, Also, I wanted to use Inktober, like I'm sure everyone does, to help improve my ink drawings overall. And you'll see that as the days go by as I show them. First drawing was a Oracle, and this is what I mean. This is a character design based on from the project that I'm working on. It's gonna have themes of like prophecy and characters being able to see like the future and whatnot. And this character is at least the initial design of the character, who's going to have a lot to do with that aspect of the story. A few things with this drawing that I enjoyed. Most of the shading, I would say, but I did like how I did the hair here. Just in terms of making it look more textured and look more like real hair. So I like this drawing. I think it was a good start for the beginning of the project. The next drawing is Ghost. Now this one I didn't like as much. I'll say I was trying to make it creepy. I probably over-rendered a little bit here and there, but it wasn't terrible. Like, I liked how the tombstone looked, but he kind of looks more like I don't know, like a swamp creature than like a ghost. But again, it's all right. It's supposed to be my attempts at monster design. I haven't really gone into that a lot, so this is some good practice in that front. The next day was Lantern, and this is another instance of me practicing character designs, or at least themes. Like, I want it to be like kind of a dark, a gritty, gothic style for the book, and I just used this as an idea. You see, she's like battle damaged. She's in rags, and she's carrying a little lantern. I kind of threw it, gave the lantern a little bit of face just to be kind of funny, but realistically, this is kind of the tone that I want the book to be going towards. In terms of the drawing itself, I was trying to do a kind of top-down look, so a bit of perspective. Don't think I nailed it perfectly, but it was some good practice. Perspective is always a difficult thing for most artists. Yeah, in terms of the inking, I don't have a huge problem with it. I think I've still got more to improve on. So yeah, that was day 3. Day 4. So I really liked this one. The prompt was priest, and I used a lot of reference in terms of pictures of priests and robes and clothing. So I think it turned out really well. I'm not always able to find a really good reference, so that definitely affects the quality of a piece. But I really like this one. I like the feathers and just the overall vibe of it. As far as the book goes, this is something that I do want to like address in the book, like cults and like different religions and whatnot. So that'll be very prevalent in the book. It's gonna make like a little bit of a commentary, maybe. I'll attempt. But yeah, this was a really good one. I was really proud of this one. And the next day is animate. Now, this one I based it off of a short story that I had written a while back, and it was basically kind of like a Frankenstein narrative, but instead of it being like a hulking like monster, the scientist was trying to resurrect his child, and it was supposed to be a spin on that story, in which he was doing like he was stealing the body parts and whatnot to create the child, and it was supposed to be like a moral conundrum in a sense, like when is it going too far and whatnot. Oh, as far as the piece goes, I really like this one. It's one of my favorites. It got a lot of praise when I posted it online. So yeah, like, I really like the shading. That was animate. The next day was wolf. Now, this one, I guess I was a little bit too ambitious with this one. It covers the whole page. It's like dark background on dark image. I tried to like kind of make some shading. I was trying to make them scary. I don't know if I succeeded in making them scary, but I don't know. It's fine for now. Like I definitely need to go back and actually use more reference, because I didn't use a reference for this one. That was a big thing with this one. I should have used a reference, and it probably made the werewolf look cooler. Excuse me, look more anatomically correct. But it is what it is. I enjoyed it. The next day is tarot. This is day 7, and this one I also really enjoyed. I took inspiration from obviously tarot cards, and that's something that I want to show in the book itself. Just have like a theme of them and try to keep that gothic atmosphere, but it also required me to do more research into tarot, so that was fun. Tell me in the comments if you know what each one of the cards mean. This is supposed to be the Fool, Lover, Death, and the Moon. So if you were to get all those cards, what would a reader tell you about your present and your future? Like, let me know in the comments. The next day was Melody. Now I really like this one, if not for anything, just the shading on her dress. I think I failed a little bit with the hands. I was trying to make it look like she was actually playing the instrument, But again, that highlights that I still need to work on my anatomy and whatnot. But I enjoyed this one. I like the just the energy it's given. And you see from her ears, she's an elf. I do want there to be fantasy elements in the story, so I wanted to practice drawing characters like this. But yeah, this was one of the good ones. One of the ones I enjoyed. The next day is Ghoul. Really juxtaposition from the from Melody to this one, where he's like a monster. But yeah, I heavily wanted to show off these. Now, I like this drawing. It definitely took a little bit of time, and I used some reference for anatomy and whatnot, but I do think I over rendered, and it's kind of looks messy. So that's definitely something I gotta work on. But I do like how like the shadows in the torso then kind of fade with the light, and I think he looks reasonably scary. So it's not a complete failure. Also like the pose with the foreshortening, his arms bigger and other arms smaller. So I'm good with this one. I don't dislike it. Now, the next day can't be said the same. Plant, and it's technically a tree. The idea behind this one was there's like a curse. I think of like a zombie like curse. But what if it affects other things? Basically, instead of just people, what if it affects plants and animals? And that was the idea behind it. But the drawing itself didn't turn out exactly as I wanted it to. I guess it looks creepy, but I don't have a lot of experience drawing like trees and branches and whatnot. So definitely got to practice this a bit more. But it wasn't horrible. The next day is Hunter. Now I really like this one a lot. And like I used some reference of like Western and cowboys and whatnot. And he has like the crossbow. But I really like this. I feel like I was starting to get an idea of like the style I want for the book. And the idea behind this one, he's supposed to be a monster hunter, but when does he become what he's hunting? Something like when does the hunter become the monster? But yeah, it just looks like it could be plucked right out of a page, like a panel. I really like this one. This was pretty good. Next day is Spider. And this one was another monster creature design. You see he's kind of webbing up a person. Like I had a little bit more time, so I was trying to push myself with this one to make that kind of like a background. And I think it turned out okay. But I think it was a little bit rough. Like I could have made the lines a little bit better. But it's not bad. Giant spiders. They're kind of scary. Right. The next day was Potion. Now, this is where the burnout started, and I want to talk about this a little bit because it happens with long challenges like this. Essentially, like even though I had a lot of time on this day, this is day 13, and I'm not even halfway through, and the prompts are just feeling like I'm losing motivation. Like the excitement of October 1st is completely evaporated at this point. When that happens, I found that reducing the complexity of the drawing is the best strategy. Like originally I wanted it to be like a shelf of potions and like have a lot of shading and lighting, maybe even have a character looking through the potions. Like I had an idea for something like that, but nah, I was burned. So I opted for something simpler. It's a simple potion. It's worth 25 gold. And just call it a day. Same with the next one. The next day's was tome. And you can see, obviously, it's a small image. This was also probably a work day, so I didn't have a lot of time that day. And I just tried to get whatever I could done. Obviously, it's like a magic book with like the magical symbols and whatnot and the gem. So it's not bad, but obviously it's very minimal. Though, after that, we caught a second wind because day 15 was deer. Now, I really like this one. It's based off of, like, the inspiration came from an SCP. If you know what SCPs are, this was, I forgot the number for one, but just look up not deer. And that's the inspiration I got for this. Same thing with the tree being infected with like corruption or dark magic or whatever. Like if it happened to animals. So you got like you're walking through the forest and then you see this standing there staring at you and it says, oh, "Hello, are you lost?" So it's a bad time. But I put a lot of effort into shading and trying to make it creepy. Got a little bit lazy with the background a bit. Use some assets within Clip Studio to fill it out, but I think it still looks good. It's one of my more proud pieces, I would say. The next day is Sacrifice. Now, I like this one. I am torn on whether or not I should have had her be upside down like this. I was trying to make it more dynamic and interesting to look at, but probably just makes it harder to read, honestly. But this is going back to just trying to maintain the theme and also try to work on clothing folds, which I definitely still need to practice and do some studies of because they don't look that great, but the anatomy is getting better. I would say that. Next day, I tried a different style that I don't know if I like, but the prompt was shadow. And something I wanted to also incorporate into the story was characters having inner conflicts, inner demons, and darker sides to them that they have to grapple with. And I wanted to illustrate that with how he has his light side, then he has the shadow connected to him. And it's like a burden that the character has to deal with. And there's going to be a lot of characters with that. And you'll probably see another piece that'll also highlight that too. Probably a little bit better, but we'll see. So this one was okay. And yeah, this is the other piece. This day was Mirror. And obviously you can see the girl, she's staring into the mirror, and then her reflection is of like a monster version of herself. And that's going more into the theme of like the inner conflict within the person. I like this one in terms of the rendering, but this is a perfect example of proportions being off because her head is too big in comparison to her shoulders, so it kind of looks off, and the facial features could use some work, but I still like it. I put a lot of effort into the lighting in the piece, so I still think it's good. It showed me what I need to improve on, so I enjoyed this one. The next day is Machine. This is day 19, so we're almost there. This was actually a really popular piece on TikTok when I posted it. Maybe it was just the format that I posted it in, but a lot of people enjoyed this one. This is another theme in the story that I wanted to mess around with. Whether it's gonna make the cut eventually is unknown yet, but essentially, it's this is like a mage down here, and this is, obviously a giant robot. Like the conflict of magic versus technology in the world. I didn't want it to just be a traditional kind of fantasy world. I wanted it to be like a fantasy world that's making the transition into a more technology based society. So industrial like revolution in a sense that's taking place. So, but with a touch of fantasy or science fiction in it. So might keep the concept, might be too much, but it's a cool idea, I thought. And I like the piece. He finds the old machine in the forest, where did it come from, and just a lot of questions. The next day was more of a how to say concept ideas. It was eyes, and I wanted to create a series of different eye types with like a really graphic design. Like obviously these are like monsters, vampire like characters, and I was trying to see what would be a cool eye design for them. I really like this one, probably just because the face is better, but this one's pretty cool too. But yeah, so it's not much to say about this one. It's I was just trying to have fun with it, so it's kind of messy. So, but yeah. The next day is Angel, and this one was a lot more minimalistic. It's a smaller image, but it's like an angel tied up, like chained. This goes back into like the religious themes I wanted to show off in the story. Whether or not this will make the cut, I'm not sure, but I thought it was a cool idea of maybe like a race of angel-like creatures getting like betrayed by humanity and then getting imprisoned and going from there. I thought that was kind of cool, but and once again burnout hit because this is day 22. This is Ritual. This was supposed to be a little bit more of an elaborate image. I was actually going to relate it back to Sacrifice and redraw the girl, and it was going to be the people standing around her. But once again, the burnout was hitting, so I opted for a more simplistic drawing. That's the key to it. Don't marry yourself to it. When you're trying to do a challenge like this, just get through it. Especially on these days, don't overcomplicate it. Just get something on the paper. The next day was Coffin, and with this one I opted for a bit more of a whimsical design. This girl she's a vampire sitting in a coffin, and she got her cat, got the little stuffed animal, snacks, reading a book. It's supposed to be like a juxtaposition of the really dark themes in the story with lighter outlooks on life. So the characters dealing with how they deal with the worlds being so gray, and how that affects their worldview. So that's something I want to mess with too. So this was just a way to illustrate that. Right, the next day prompt was doll, and with this one I really just wanted to, how do I say, focus on the anatomy. I really want to get better at it, and so I used a lot of reference for this one. I really like how it turned out, but again, going about what I said earlier in the video, everything should have multiple purposes. So not only was I trying to focus on anatomy here, but I also wanted to try out drawing more of the, the magic versus the tech idea I had. So she's kind of like a machine, but she's powered by magic that I had in my mind. So, and that motivation kept me going and made kept me continuing the project essentially. So, next day was Kiss, and you probably can't see it that well, but I took one of the eye designs from the previous day and gave it to this character. I also wanted to practice a little bit of foreshortening, so she's kind of like leaning forward. Don't know if I nailed it perfectly, but I like the drawing. I think it looks cool. The next day was Weave. Now, this one, I think you already can imagine, this hand took twice as long as the rest of the drawing. I tell you, I had to find so much reference to really nail like the look of him holding out his hand, casting a spell. I'm glad I was heavily motivated for this one. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have done this. It was hell. It showed me that I need to practice hands more. But I like how it turned out. Like he's like a mage, and I definitely want to showcase like magic like this in the story. So like to different degrees. Don't know if this is going to be an actual character design eventually, but right now I like him. Next day, there was a funny story behind this one. I won't get into it, but essentially I didn't really finish this drawing. So I started it, and then I had to leave, and I didn't get back in time to finish the drawing for the day. So this is what I had. It's good enough. I'm glad I didn't start at the bottom, and then it was all was left was torso. Yeah, it's a serpent, and let's go back to the religious symbolism. It's supposed to be Eve and the serpent and the apple. So, really not sure if this is going to get into the story, but it was a cool idea I had. The next day was Skeleton, and with this one, I really wanted to push my rendering skills to really try to like make something really detailed. In terms of the face, I really like it. His cloth and hood, not so sure. But overall, I think I learned a lot. I think the main thing was the lines should have all been in the same direction, or at least most of them should have been. And because they aren't, they're messy. So, knowledge for the future. The next day was Tentacle, and we're getting close to the end. But this one was based off the King in Yellow. If you ever read that book, which, funny enough, technically that has nothing to do with tentacles, but people always associate them with like Cthulhu and whatnot, even though they're different authors. But yeah, I really like this design. Like it was really just because I was inspired by the book at the time, so, and just the imagery around it. But yeah, so I'm not sure if this will actually make it into the story, but it might. I might find a way. I usually like to put my inspirations in my projects, so we will see. Second to the last prompt, this was Train. Now, this one, I was trying to make a background. Not good at making backgrounds, but I do like how this turned out. Even if it's just a monster, it looks pretty good. The people, I kind of roughed them in, but the shading isn't bad. Overall, I like it. I think it showed me what I can do better, where I'm lacking, and that's really important. That's the whole point of the whole challenge, really. And lastly is vampire. And vampire, I chose vampire because, like the first prompt, this is going to be one of the, or at least the early designs of one of the main characters of the book. So I wanted to practice her design here. And I think comparing this to to day one, in terms of just character design and the rendering, I think I improved a lot. Like I would say, like still got a lot to work on, maybe in terms of hands and just anatomy. But I really like the face. Like it's pretty symmetrical and whatnot. So yeah. Well, that was the last one. So I'm back at the beginning. So yeah, these were my Inktober drawings. Let me know which one you like the most, or which few you like the most, or if you're interested in the story that'll eventually come out from this. I'm looking to post regularly, maybe every few weeks. So I'm going to be posting the next video pretty soon. So be sure to subscribe so you can get notified for that. Yeah, until then, good luck and take care.